So today I want to talk about relationships. Now, relationships are a very hot topic because most people are either trying to get out of a relationship, they're trying to pursue a relationship, or you're trying to maintain a relationship. And in this regard, I'm talking about intimate, personal relationships that lead to long-term satisfaction. More and more in today's time, what we're witnessing is that people are delaying marriage, younger people are not getting married, and this is going to have far-reaching consequences for the traditional family as well as the children that are born within this society, right? Many of us were born seeing our grandparents, our great uncles, aunties, our aunts and uncles, mothers and fathers in long-term relationships, right? And we're really reaching a transition where a lot of people are feeling feelings of distrust, and they think that it's impossible to maintain a long-term relationship. So on this episode, I am going to discuss that, reasons why people are feeling this way, reasons why people break up, why long-term relationships are difficult to maintain, and also we're going to talk about the fear of missing out. So I have a few clips I want to play, and I'll stress my point at the end. And if you haven't, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. It really.
At what age do you decide you just don't care if you get married or have a boyfriend anymore? Because I'm so blessed. Like, life is so good. I literally am like, la 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 through life. And then a random thought will be like, well, you haven't had a boyfriend in 6 years. Girl, you're not going to be a young mom because you're not even married yet. And I'm like, shut up. Like, I wish those thoughts would just go away. And I'm thinking, like, do they ever go away? Or have I been conditioned as a little kid to want that my whole life? And now that's like what I think is missing. But like, I don't think it's missing, but it's like my thoughts too.
Hey man, we might be the last ones getting married for real. So I went back home the other day and I was talking to one of my young boys. And keep in mind, he like 16. He like, yeah, bruh, I done gave up on that shit a long time ago. I'm like, gave up on what? He talking about relationships, trying to get married, all of that. He told me his plan was to get a really, really fine baby mama so he could just hit her forever. He said, because you know, you can always hit your baby mama. And I said, yeah. And I was like, he young, he gonna grow out of that. But I was like, let me hear him out. Basically what he said, and he had a very good point. He was like, he feel like he ain't turned right now. So he was like, if he get a girl and he locked in, she just gonna cheat on him with the right dude, which is turned. He was like, when he gets there, when he finally gets his money and figures himself out and all that, she's only gonna be around for that. That if he didn't even have all that shit, she wouldn't even look his way. I was like, damn, he ahead of the curve. But I tried to talk him out of it. I tried to persuade him. I was like, hey, look at me and my girl. I met her in college. I was in a dorm, eating at the calf, no car, walking to work. And she held it down. She was still fucking with me, and we came up together. And he was like, yeah, bro, you might have found a unicorn, but I don't want to take them chances. He said, if I want to play with those type of odds, I could just put in a 30-leg parlay.
Today I learned that women hit the wall at 35 years old. So I'm about to hit the wall next year? Is it cold there? Is it at least furnished? Lord, what's that gonna do?
Hey ladies, if you get on the internet and you see a woman like me sharing how happy I am being single and like expressing how content I am in my singleness, and your first thought is to comment, yeah, but you're still single. What's the point if you don't have a man? You might as well just comment, I hate myself. Like, just say that, because that's what you're telling me. People who view being single as an inherently negative experience only do so because they can't fathom the idea of being with themselves and being happy. Since you don't like yourself and you don't love yourself, you need someone else to come in and tell you how much they like you and how much they love you and make you feel validated and make you feel chosen.
My biggest fear with raising sons as a single mom is that they're possibly going to grow up and think that the women in their generation shouldn't complain about being a single mother because they watched me do it. You see, a single mother is going to create one of two men. You're either going to create a man that watched his mother struggle so he would never put another woman through that, or you're going to create a man that watched his mother struggle but get it done and think that that's normal. Like, oh, well, my mom did it, so it's okay. I don't want them to have that mentality just because they watched me do it. You see, I don't complain to them about being a single mother because I don't want them to think it was terrible raising them. So I'm like a little conflicted because I also don't want them to grow up and think, well, my mom was a single mom, so other moms should do it. Why are you complaining about being a single mom? My mom did it with 5 kids. Like, it would break my heart to hear my son say that as an adult because it's hard. It's not easy. And I don't know why single motherhood is being normalized. I'm not a single mom because I wanted to be a single mom. I'm a single mom because I don't have a choice. The father got mad at me when the relationship ended and decided when the relationship ended, that meant I don't have to be a father anymore. But I chose to stay and handle my responsibilities as a mother. Fathers really need to do better. All that putting the blame on the woman because she's the one that stayed and he's the one that up and left just because the relationship ended is crazy. Oh, well, you should have picked a better father. No, they were great fathers while they had access to me. It's when I cut the access to me that they became terrible fathers. So why is it I should have picked better instead of they need to man up and handle their responsibilities as men because these are their offsprings? The relationship with me should not determine the relationship with your child.
So in psychology, many psychologists would state that the way we are raised and socialized has a lot to do with how we interact with one another. So before we talk about the adults and why adults are not getting married, why they are having problems cohabitating, let's discuss how children are raised. If children today are socialized not to have a 2-parent home, then quite naturally as they get older, they're not going to want to have a 2-parent home or see it as something that's necessary. So I think that things that's in the media definitely has a serious impact on the way that people socialize. The next thing is, let's talk about the economy, right? If a lot of men feel as though and think that the economy is so bad that they're struggling to take care of themselves, well, why would they want to add another person to that threshold, right? It's just more challenging. Then, of course, we all know about the divorce laws and a lot of people using the divorce system as a means to enhance themselves financially on both sides. But primarily, we see it favoring the women in today's time. So we have a system that's put in place, of course, that punishes guys for acting on their instinct to be providers, to be protectors, and to procreate, right? The system, the external force of the government comes in and then punishes those guys by saying like, okay, if this situation doesn't work out, we're going to severely punish you. Well, what that does is that hurts the family unit in many ways. Although it's meant to be beneficial and is meant to correct an injustice, not all situations are the same, right? So when we treat every situation as though it's a deadbeat father or something like that, then that's going to make it increasingly difficult. Now, on the other side, with the females, it's a similar thing. If you have females that's growing up in single parent homes, not being able to communicate, not seeing their mothers in long lasting relationships, not dealing with conflict and conflict resolution, poor problem skills, and this is for both male and females. In order to have a lasting relationship, you have to become a problem solver, right? And you have to learn how to communicate effectively. Most people never learn how to communicate effectively. So a lot of people, as soon as words fail, then that's when violence come in. That's when domestic abuse come in, right? And so we have to learn to communicate effectively. We have to learn to use our words in a way that's constructive instead of destructive. And it's very difficult because when children don't see adults socializing in that way, then they don't have the example on how to go out and perform those tasks. Now, personally, I do want, I'm a father. I do want my son to grow up and to be a provider, a protector, to procreate, to have a family, right? So I look at it not just from me, but I look at it from the future and say, okay, well, I hope that he meets someone that's raised correctly, that's raised to practice justice, that's not going to take advantage of him, and vice versa. I don't want to raise my kid to grow up and to devalue women and to want him to take advantage of someone's daughter, right? So parents, we have a huge responsibility because we have to promote justice, right? We have to promote justice because we want our children to grow up in a better world. If the family is fragmented, then the society is broken. If there's no family structure, then the society is going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And then babies are going to be born into a world without provision and protection, without a proper plan. We have to start planning for parenthood. We have to start planning how we want the next 10 and 15 years to go, right? I think at this stage in the game, the older people have to school the younger people and tell them that it's nothing wrong with attempting to have a family, attempting to be a mother, attempting to be a father, but you want to set yourself up for success. And what I see in this generation, and when I say this generation, I'm saying everyone, let's say from the ages of 18 to 35, or let's say 25 to 35, a lot of people are just confused. So I would love to hear what you think. I didn't want to get too preachy in this episode. I just kind of wanted to share a basis for my opinions. So drop some comments and tell me what you think on this topic. To me, it's very interesting, and it is a problem that we have